Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Rare Champions or Secret Champions of Marvel Contest of Champions. These are basically champions that, and I've used champions in one sentence a bit too much, but these are champions that have been built, that were put in game for the purpose of being NPCs, secret champions, never released, but they still exist in some sort of capacity, so it looks into the history of this game. And in this particular episode, we're going to be going over Jean Grey. No, this is not Jean Grey. This is Phoenix. You can tell by the outfit. Very Phoenix-like. Yes, the character is called Jean Grey, but it's Phoenix. This is Jean Grey. This is one of my favourite types of appearances of Jean Grey. From growing up watching the animated series of X-Men, you can definitely see that this is a fantastic version. I'm actually into and I like this version here. This is very much the modern version, and especially if you've been following a lot of the comic book story arcs of Krakoa, then you'll know that this is a very kind of like current, modern and prevalent version of Jean Grey. But do you remember this version of Jean Grey? Yes, this is indeed Jean Grey. So back in July, I think it was June, July time of 2016, there was the Terra Genocide event. Or Terra Genesis event. This one had a Jean Grey. There was also a Dark Phoenix, which will be the subject of another episode. But this particular Jean Grey looks a little bit different to the one you see in game. To kind of point out some of the differences, here's a larger rendered version of the model. So you can see on the model right here, there is the kind of green fingertips to the long gloves. There's also a bit of a different colour palette, just slightly, which you can see compared with the Phoenix on screen right now. There's also a green belt with a side X-Men kind of badge. You can see that on screen right now. There's also a slight kind of skirting, kind of a plated detail-y thing. Not one for fashion, but also there is a green type of boot, which the Phoenix version does not possess. The Phoenix version, as you can see, has more of a yellow boot to it. There's also a bit of a difference when it comes to the face, because on the face, the mask is, there, you can see a mask, which, Phoenix does not have. So there's a lot of things that are very different with that model. This is a version of Jean Grey. This is the Jean Grey from that particular event. I would also like to turn your attention to this. This is a little bit kind of like slow, laggy. This is from an old video by MCOC Mod. I think this is taken from a developer build and shows the character in animation and movement. Do bear in mind that none of these are kind of special attacks that are associated with this champion. This is kind of like just a model. But the reason this is actually kind of like a model made is indeed to be an NPC, and an NPC only. I think at the time I had this really kind of big hope that we'd see Jean Grey. Jean Grey, along with a lot of other of the X-Men characters, were just, characters that I wanted to see in game. And to be fair, we have had a lot of them come into game. I mean, I'll buy a few, Morph, or this version of Jean, well, not this version of Jean Grey, but the Jean Grey that I said at the start of the video that I liked visually. I thought that was a really kind of like good version, and it would have been good to see it. And maybe we will still see it at some stage. I was slightly disappointed though in the past, kind of like what was the future back when this particular image came up for the release of Bishop as well as an event, and Sabretooth as well at the same time. They did put Jean Grey there, but they did actually use the model for Phoenix, because it is different to the, which you can see on screen now. It's a little bit different because there's like the yellow comes in with a kind of a V, which you can see. So it's kind of, I was a bit annoyed with seeing that they kind of referred to that as being the Jean Grey. No, it's Phoenix, but I think you know what I mean. Now, Kabam in the future and in the past have still kind of promoted this particular character, even though it still is similar to our X-Men, our X-Force Wolverine episode. It's very much like an NPC character, popping up to talk about dialogue here and there, which you can see like on screen right now. I still hope that we could see a new version. I don't know if I want to see this particular version, because I think that Kabam are kind of like they're done with it, unless they bring out a lot of the NPCs and kind of secret champions and characters that we could see in the past. Now, I don't know if because Kabam have created it as a champion, they were planning at some stage to bring it into game, or they have to make it as a champion in order to have it in. So they have to have a model of the champion with some basic animations or whatever, just to have them as NPC pop-ups in dialogue. Now, I don't know if that's 100% to be true, but it's always very interesting to note that we could have seen something like this. I mean, they modeled enough of it. Would have been good just to create it as a champion. And they may have it in the game files, the same way that Jessica Jones has been brought into the game in the past and now the future. But that's just the thing. I would love to see a mutant version of Jean Grey, which this is actually taken from. I want to say this was taken from an MCOC mods video. So back when data mining wasn't as frowned upon as it is now, it was something that, you know, it was interesting to know that, okay, what MCOC mod will release next? And we'd be reacting to, well, a Wolverine X-Force, obviously the Old Man Human Torch, this version of, not Phoenix, Jean Grey. It's always very exciting to see that and see what exactly they would have abilities wise and what they could offer, because that's still the thing. It's still my hope that we could see a mutant version of Jean Grey. Of course, with the release of X-Men 97, which is coming soon, it's something, or has already been released depending on when I get this series out, it's going to be a very exciting time. So will indeed we see more of a release of Jean Greys, because we had a very kind of big Jean Grey time. In the same time, we had Dark Phoenix as an alternate character. Now, there are a couple of versions of Dark Phoenix, which we'll cover in a future video, and that is that Dark Phoenix has had a red kind of outfit, but I've also seen a grey one. So there's a lot of kind of like difference of info that comes up from this. Now, what I'm going to do is, you know, end the video there. We've looked at information. We've seen the character in operation in being an NPC. And as I said, I'd love to have seen this in game. This version I've got up on screen is the version that I personally grew up with. I think it's pretty cool, but I wouldn't mind seeing the other version, which is the one that's kind of more of the modern version, which you can see right here. It's just a different style. I guess it's down to like what kind of version that you would actually like to see in game. As I said, for me, it's got to be this version. I just think that it's just going to look so cool with the Cyclops, the one that we've got, the 90s version, the Wolverine, this version. Storm's a bit of an iffy one because I've always wanted to see Storm as being the proper kind of long white hair, like a version that's just the white. Like, it's such a missed opportunity to not have that version. Nothing against the version we got in the Mohawk version. Storm Pyramid X is a bit of a different kind of like discussion point, but I just like that kind of classic 90s team. Maybe Kabam could put the full team in future and have some kind of like I don't know, ability. Have like Professor X in the chair. Oh, that would be funny. I don't think they'd ever do it, but you know, you can live in kind of like hope with it, especially because the Professor X one in game is not technically that. He's technically Phantom X in game, but yeah, that's another story for another day. But there we go. That has been the video. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure to check out some other content and also more of this series in the link in the description. Make sure to support this series, and we've got more still to come. Look out for more fun episodes delving into the the past of MCOC in the Secret Champions and Rare Champions series. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.